Thank you to start the recording. It's at 3:01. Let's wait a few more seconds for additional participants to join. And we will kick off this second webinars on UM Fleet. Okay, so we are good to go. Good morning, good afternoon, colleagues. It's a pleasure to be here today speaking with you. I'm Giovanni Pio from WFP, co-chair of the GSS task team. It is an interagency group of let me say, interests that are pushing forward more and more solutions at global level. And I will be doing a small introduction today, and I will hand over to the UM Fleet team. Just a few words to say that GSS Global Shared Services is an important and key component of the UN reform agenda as part of the broader global supply architecture that will need to support the UN services across multiple agencies. GSS provides location-independent activities that will complement common back office and BOS that are location-dependent activities. We also updated our terminology over the last few months, moving from GSSC, so Global Shared Service Center, to GSS, deliberately eliminating the C, because GSS, from our point of view, from the task team point of view, not only provides service at the global level, but not only at traditional level to a service center, but also including those services that are provided by service delivery hubs or via digital platforms. For example, in WFP, we have the UM Booking Hub, the Service Marketplace. Today, you will see the Fleet Portal. And these days, post-COVID, with the new ways of working, with expanded use of technology that have fundamentally changed the way we operate and the way we work together and the way we deliver services. And that's why it is a global solution more and more important that are market-driven solution. Different entities can buy and select services based on their appetite to collaborate and appetite to improve and increase the efficiency and effectiveness in certain type of operation and certain type of functional areas. Specifically, for example, in some element of administration, finance, and so on. Please, you can move to the next slide. Thank you, Meryl. This is just the overall framework. The next slide shows you the component of the GSS efficiency agenda estimates that we plan to deliver over the next few years. As you can see, 40% of the overall efficiency roadmap belongs to GSS. So I welcome more and more cross collaboration so that we can retain the benefit to be able to deliver. Because one of the most important parts of GSS is that service recipient will be able to access to a large investment, large solution that are already in place. And UM Fleet is a genuine example of this benefit that can be delivered from day one thanks to the UM Fleet team. Moving to the next one, thank you. As I mentioned, there is an entire task team of the largest service providers that are getting together every week, every month to discuss which service to promote, which service really make a big difference, and therefore we should try to collaborate more and more, because we know in 2022 still these adoption of services require some time. And as a benefit, I mentioned, of course, the component of saving or efficiencies, but also the quality improvement, more cooperation, more client satisfaction. This one will help also to scale up and scale down your operation in a given country. And you will hear from the expert in a second. The last slide for me today is simply the 43 service architecture that you can see that are provided by the 7 largest service providers. And of course, UM Fleet is on the top right because it's a joint venture between UNHCR and WFP that created this common team to work together. But I leave now to Robert McConnell, head of the client relation of UM Fleet, to tell you more. And please feel free to ask any question anytime, or simply use the chat box. You will receive a question online, or also following days, feel free to reach out in case of any question. We are here to help you to fully understand the quality of the service and the benefit that your organization will get it. Thank you, Rob. Over to you.
Thank you very much indeed, Giovanni, and thank you everybody for joining, and thanks to the UN Fleet team who are supporting me on this webinar. As Giovanni has pointed out, this GSS initiative is really important. Well, there's a number of initiatives within GSS, and we're aware that we've also got UN Mobility, which is with the UN Booking Hub, which is more the sort of movement of people on a day-to-day basis. What we're really looking at is providing the vehicle assets that we need as agencies for our day-to-day work. And so I just want to go through this. We're going to give you a little overview of what is UN Fleet, why UN Fleet, how does leasing work, and how does it benefit your operation, and indeed how to actually lease those vehicles. So I will take you through that. We will also have a little demonstration of the portal that we use to access UN Fleet. And then we'll have time to take your questions and answers. And as Giovanni said, put your questions in the chat. We will open up the mics at the end. We had a really dynamic question and answer session in the webinar we had a couple of days ago. Lots of interesting stuff coming up. So let's get stuck in. And I must also just say, I'm looking through the participants list, and it gives me great pleasure to see all sorts of people we know on that list. It's a pleasure to see you there. So let's find out, what is UN Fleet? We're going to show you a little video. I'll come back to you after the video. Thanks.
As the United Nations community works to align with the 2030 Agenda, cost-effective fleet services are core to every operation. And thanks to startup funds from both WFP and UNHCR and their nearly 25 years of combined proven fleet experience, we have a solution. The UN Fleet is here to offer straightforward and affordable vehicle lifecycle management services to the entire UN through a tried and tested vehicle leasing scheme. Our customer-focused services are guided by 3 UN reform principles, offering UN agencies qualitative benefits in addition to quantitative efficiency gains. And the best part? We're fully digital. The UN Fleet portal puts our entire portfolio of leasing options and services at your agency's fingertips and allows us to provide 24-hour support. On the UN Fleet portal, clients can profile their fleet to better fit their operational needs, select vehicle accessories, and place and track leasing orders. Thanks to our agreements with leading vehicle manufacturers, we take care of vehicle procurement and offer new standard vehicle models for economic leasing rates. Our vehicle preparation centers hold stocks of standard vehicles and accessories and are strategically located, facilitating global coverage and short delivery time. We've got your agency covered with vehicle procurement, preparation, modification, shipping, and even a self-insurance scheme that provides worldwide insurance coverage for damage and loss conveniently incorporated into all leasing contracts. And finally, UN Fleet only offers new and modern vehicles with a maximum lease duration of 5 years. The service provides disposal and replacement services at the vehicle's end of life. This keeps things easy and manageable for your agency and supports in reducing the environmental impact of your fleet. Additionally, our standard vehicle model catalog is expanding to include low-emission vehicles like hybrid electric vehicles and electric vehicles. UN Fleet. Safe, efficient, and sustainable vehicles for the UN system. We're ready. Are you?
We're ready. Are you? We're leasing vehicles already. Come and join the party. So, as Giovanni explained in the beginning, this is an initiative that World Food Programme and UNHCR have come together. They've both had a long-standing, very effective centralized vehicle fleet management systems. Under the UN reform, they've come together, these two agencies, to come up with UN Fleet, which is offering the same service offering to the other elements of the UN system. So with the experience of these two agencies, not only is it 25 years, but today we have collectively more than 10,000 vehicles on rent, on lease in more than 120 countries. We are very familiar with the details of every country, and we have a tried and tested, proven method of running centralized vehicle leasing schemes. So why has this come together? Well, again, as we said, under the UN reform, there are certain sort of parameters, certain drivers, and certain conditions under which service offering can be made under the UN reform. Primarily client satisfaction. And this is my focus in the team, actually. And we really take it seriously. We are very oriented toward meeting the client's needs. We want to come up with a standardized pricing and costing model. It's on a cost recovery. We understand the model, and it is very cost effective. And we are building on the mutual recognition. Mutual recognition simplifies processes so much. We are really keen to bring more agencies in using the agreements that we have established. And from our operational perspective, we manage fleet, and as we look at fleet, we really focus on these three priorities, which are the priorities that any fleet manager, any modern fleet manager must regard. And they're not in any order of priority. They all have equal importance. Road safety. We must ensure that our staff, our drivers are safe, as well as the other road users where we are operating. And a younger, more appropriately specified fleet will enhance our road safety performance. Efficiency. Fleets are one of these areas where the benefits of scale, economies of scale, can really be achieved. And we've demonstrated this with other agencies. Centralization and standardization really leads to significant cost efficiency and improvements in performance, which is required. We're on constrained budgets. We have to be effective. And of course, sustainability. The UN system has made a commitment to improving environmental performance. Each of your individual agencies has made a similar commitment. And when we look at the contribution our vehicle fleets made to our overall contribution of CO2 and other noxious emissions, our vehicle fleets, after probably travel and buildings, feature way up. That's probably the third largest contributor. We need to work out how our fleet can reduce the level of emissions. We must reduce our emissions, and that will be done through the shape and the size of the fleet. So, what are the benefits? What are the benefits for you? You are at you're at the sharp end of the UN's work. Most of you are there in the field, involved in day-to-day operations. In discussion with agencies, we've realized that vehicle procurement is a headache for most agencies and most operations. It's a very complicated, burdensome process and very long lead times, very difficult to get budget, very difficult to get decision, very often difficult to get hold of vehicles. We take care of that. We buy vehicles direct from the manufacturer in most cases. We hold vehicle in stock, which I'll talk about in a minute, and we can shorten significantly the length of time for delivery, as well as removing the administrative burden associated with vehicle procurement. We have a number of options and solutions. We understand operational needs. We're providing maximum flexibility and really understanding of your needs to provide customer-oriented solutions. We understand that. We support vehicle lifecycle management. Most people don't even talk about vehicle lifecycle management, but to be effective and efficient, we need to make sure that the appropriate vehicles are bought in the first place, they are operated correctly, and then they are retired at an appropriate time. We see over and over again agencies hanging onto vehicles for long periods of time. We need to enforce lifecycle management, which is why we have a fixed maximum operational life of a leased vehicle. We're really looking at reducing environmental impact. We're doing this through introducing lower emission vehicles. When I say lower emission vehicles, I don't mean just hybrid or hybrid electric vehicles. We're looking at smaller engine vehicles, more lower emission vehicles, introduction of Euro compliant engines and so on. So we really are aiming to make a significant decrease in the overall emissions of the UN fleet. So, very often this requires a lot of detailed and technical knowledge. We can manage that on your behalf. We understand that. We take over. We assume some of those responsibilities for you, where we know that the technical expertise is very thin on the ground. We provide that expertise, and we can assume some of those responsibilities. So we lease. We buy the vehicles centrally. In advance, we bring them into stockholding location. When we receive orders, we prepare those vehicles and we ship them out. The maximum lease time is 5 years. This is why this is part of this life cycle management. We know that operating costs of vehicles begin to increase after 5 years, and the residual value of that vehicle begins to decrease. We sell at a sweet spot where operating costs are still low and residual values are high, thereby minimizing the cost of the vehicle to the operation. When a lease is started, we have a fixed monthly lease rate which remains constant during the entire life of the vehicle. The lease rate does not change during the course of the lease. All leased vehicles come with UN fleet insurance for loss or damage. So any damage to the vehicle during the leasing period will be covered by UN fleet. And this also, all vehicles are covered by warranty in the same way that new vehicles are. So my last slide said that we take care of fleet management responsibilities. Those responsibilities include the procurement, stockholding of vehicles, preparation of vehicles, shipping and disposal. Our vehicle preparation, I will talk about in a moment, but all of these functions pretty much give people headaches. So we have a range of standard vehicles. And I mentioned that both UNHR and WFP combined have more than 10,500 vehicles currently on lease. There are current active 10,500 active leases, of which 85% are met by our range of standard vehicles. However, what about the other 15%? Well, we know that all those vehicles can't go to every location, so we are able to provide what we will call non-standard vehicles for specific locations. The standard vehicles are prepared in our hubs, our vehicle preparation centers, and we have a standard range of accessories that can be added to the vehicle before it's shipped. So when that vehicle arrives in country to your office, it is field ready. There's a couple of tasks you need to do, but that vehicle is ready for action. It's had a pre-delivery inspection, it's had the accessories fitted, it's ready for the road. And as I mentioned in the previous one, those vehicles are insured against any loss or damage for the whole duration of the lease. Standard vehicles, as I said, those ones on the top, we can see half a dozen vehicles. I think you're probably familiar with most of them. And those constitute, our estimate is 85% of demand can be met by then. We have non-standard vehicles. The Ukraine crisis has been an interesting example where we've had a huge demand for vehicles that are compliant with Euro 6. Euro 6 is the emission standard for the current emission standard for Europe. We cannot operate vehicles in Europe that are not Euro 6 compliant. Very high level. Our standard vehicles, most of those are not Euro 6 compliant. So therefore, as this is an example, we've had to bring in and add to the range non-standard vehicles, which to us, there's a couple of examples of the vehicles we've shipped into Ukraine for different agencies for the current crisis. At the moment, electric vehicles, and we actually also have hybrid vehicles, these are non-standard. One of the reasons that they're not standard is that they're only available in a number of specific operating territories. We only provide vehicles into countries where the manufacturer can provide after-sales support. This is essential for you to be able to use that vehicle effectively. So we double check to make sure that there are dealers in country that can provide after sales support to the user. And indeed, the standard vehicles, we hold those in stock. We have a very significant, what we call pipeline of vehicles. That includes vehicles that we've ordered from the factory, that are currently on the sea, that are currently sitting in stock. So we have a very large, extensive stock holding of standard vehicles. Most of the non-standard vehicles we do not hold in stock all the time. That's more case-by-case basis. Thank you. As I mentioned, each of those vehicles can be have accessories fitted to them, and as I say, there's a range of accessories there that you can see. I don't need to list them all, but you're familiar with them. Whether it's radios, whether it's an HF radio or a VHF radio, we can indeed put the agency branding or logos as required onto your vehicle, so that, as I say, when it comes out of that container, because most of our vehicles are actually shipped in containers, the vehicle is already equipped. It's got your logo on it. If you've specified that, we can provide that service as well. So quite a range there. And in some cases, if there's a special requirement, we can also address that if it's outside this range of standard accessories. So where do we hold these stocks? The location of the stock shipping is a very bizarre world. It's not actually linked to geographic location. It's really shipping routes. And our main stock holding point is actually in Thailand, in Lam Shabang, south of Bangkok. It's a free port, very easy shipping distance from Japan, and very good freight rates and frequencies, serving many other different locations. So Lam Shabang, southern Thailand, is our main stock holding location. And I think at any given time there, we have in the region of 1,000 vehicles. Dubai is the second stock holding location and vehicle preparation point. There's several hundred vehicles there. Dubai is a slightly different, serves a different area. And then indeed we have Rotterdam, which serves another bunch of locations. And for example, all our electric vehicles go through Rotterdam for distribution. So we have these three locations, which effectively gives us pretty effective worldwide cover. And we also, these are all outsourced, and we have extremely high quality assurance on all vehicles that are coming out. We know the vehicles, as they come out of these locations, are fitted to the best specification one can expect. Insurance and warranty, as I mentioned a couple of times, we have full insurance for the duration of the lease against all loss or damage. And it's a very, very straightforward claims process to be made. It's a self-insurance scheme. This is not a commercial insurance. We insure ourselves. And therefore, as I say, a very straightforward claims process. You submit the claim, we process it, and it's normally settled very quickly. All vehicles come with a standard 12-month or 20,000 K warranty. But just back on that insurance, that we just point out that it is essential that country offices, field offices take out local third-party liability insurance. It's normally a legal requirement in every country, and it is incumbent on every vehicle to be, every field office to make sure their vehicles are properly insured with third-party liability insurance. And then as we move to disposal, at the end of the lease, period, which we do hold rigidly at 60 months, the client agency decommissions the vehicle, hands it back to UN Fleet, and we arrange for the disposal of that vehicle. Now, if there's still a need for a vehicle, that's fine. So we will just renew the lease. We will create a new lease. So in theory, not always in practice, but at the end of lease, at the end of month 60, vehicle is decommissioned and taken by UN Fleet for disposal, and at the same time, a new vehicle is delivered, and the same very similar leasing fee will continue, and it just rolls on. So, but we do insist that 60 months is the maximum lease period. We've spoken about reducing environmental impact. Reducing environmental impact is not just a case of putting an electric vehicle into your fleet. It's looking at the composition of your fleet, which makes, models, types of vehicles are you using for which activities. Do we really need to use a heavy-duty 4x4, Land Cruiser or Prado, just for running around town? Could we use a smaller, lighter, smaller engined, more with lower emission vehicle for the same purpose? Can we use a Hi-Ace minibus where we've been using 2 Land Cruisers? We look at these and we try to understand where we can optimize the fleet by making it more efficient, as well as introducing electric and hybrid vehicles. But I said our challenge is that electrics and hybrids can only go into a certain number of countries. But anyway, even if you're replacing an old Land Cruiser with a new Land Cruiser, new vehicles tend to have lower emissions than old vehicles. So even just replacing your vehicle is a step in the right direction. Okay, so what is the process? This sounds all very exciting. So how can we lease a vehicle through UN Fleet? The process is that UN Fleet discusses at HQ level, and we sign a global service agreement between the HQ and UN Fleet. Once this agreement has been signed, we then link with the operations, we work with the operations through the HQ initially and give them access to the UN Fleet portal, which is our gateway into accessing the services. So first the agreement is signed, then we move to an operational level, and on a country by country basis, we can grant access. Well, initially anybody can access the portal once we've agreed with an organization, and then specific access is granted for placing actual requests for vehicles. So the UN Fleet portal is a very cool tool. We're very proud of it. When we've looked at the hassle that we mentioned earlier on about vehicle procurement, we know it's burdensome. We know it's difficult. A simple vehicle acquisition, a vehicle procurement, can result in dozens of phone calls, hundreds of emails, so much back and forth traffic. We strongly believe that the digital interface we have with client agencies is the best way to deliver our service offering to client agencies. As I mentioned, once normally your agency with a UN organization email address, you can normally access the UN Fleet at unfleet.org, and I recommend you try it. If you've got any problems, let us know, and we'll make sure you can get that access. And indeed, the entire leasing process is digitized, from finding a price, finding a delivery time, placing an order, payment schedules, and then you can track the progress of your order through the portal. It's very extensive. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Meryl, who's been very helpful, and ask her just to take us through the portal. Meryl, over to you.
Thank you, Rob, and good morning and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Merel van Echtdom. I'm a project and reporting officer at UN Fleet, and I'll be putting up my screen of the UN Fleet portal. As Rob said, the portal can be accessed on unfleet.org and serves as a one-stop shop for the entire service offer of UN Fleet. Any UN staff member can access the UN Fleet portal with your corporate email account. If you are facing issues, it can be that there is a level of authorization that is required at your own agency's IT unit. So if you are facing issues in accessing the portal, please reach out to us. On the home screen, there is a button that directly allows you to get in touch with us. And we also have a link to an information page on UN Fleet where you can find all the required general information on our service offer and the benefits we offer to your operation. So to log in, you use your corporate email account. I will be using my World Food Programme email address for this, and you click sign in. The portal will then take you to a landing page. There are two levels of access for the UN Fleet portal. As I mentioned before, any UN staff member can access the portal and use the portal to browse UN Fleet's vehicle catalog and accessory catalog and to review our frequently asked questions. There's a second level of access, which is provided by UN Fleet to users once there is a service agreement signed between your UN entity and UN Fleet, which allows users to place leasing requests and headquarter entities to manage all the leasing requests to validate them. Users will then automatically also receive access to a My Fleet area. I will quickly walk you through all the different functionalities, starting with browsing the vehicle catalog. This is a functionality that is open to anyone. And as Rob explained, we have a range of standard vehicle models. To help you in identifying the most appropriate vehicle for your operation, we have developed a filtering system in which you can indicate the surface on which you will be using the vehicle and the purpose for which you will be using the vehicle. So let's say you will be looking for a vehicle that you would be using on tarmac to transport people. The portal will then automatically highlight the vehicles that would be appropriate for those needs. If you click on the vehicle, you can find more details, and you can also download an attachment with the technical specifications. We also have a full accessory catalog that you already quickly saw in the slides when Rob presented the accessories, where you can find more information on the contents or the specifications of those accessories. We also have an information page on the insurance scheme. And as I just mentioned, we have a frequently asked question page, which allows you to find answers to any of the common questions. Now, if you are a user from an agency with a service agreement with UN Fleet, you will be able to request access to placing a leasing request through your headquarter entity, your headquarter fleet management unit. Once you are assigned as a team member to a customer office, you will see this additional functionality of placing a leasing request. And you can place a leasing request in the same way you would place a booking for a flight ticket. I am assigned to a WFP office for the purpose of this walkthrough. The portal will automatically show you all the destinations that are assigned to your office. So if you have an agreement with UN Fleet and your agency has specified 15 different locations to us, you'll be able to select your location from that drop-down menu. And also automatically select the relevant destination port, which is linked to your customer office. You will then be taken back to the vehicle catalog, in which you can apply the same filters that I showed to identify the most appropriate model. Let's say we want to order a Toyota Corolla. If we click on the specific vehicle model, we are taken to a page where you can either download more details on the vehicle, or you can directly configure your vehicle with any relevant accessories. So let's say we want a vehicle tracking unit to go with this Toyota Corolla, and we want it to be a left-hand drive. The portal will then automatically provide you with the financial information on the base lease rate and the total cost for your initial payment and the accessories. You may specify the quantity of vehicles if you wish to order more and add the vehicle directly to your leasing request. You could repeat this same process if you wish to order multiple vehicles or different configurations of the same vehicle in your leasing request, or if you wish to only order one vehicle, you may directly proceed and review your leasing plan. The portal will then again provide you with an overview of financial information related to your specific leasing request, where you may also make some financial decisions on how you wish to pay for the vehicle, and then you can continue to a shipping form. On the shipping form, you will be asked to provide all relevant details so that UN Fleet knows where to deliver the vehicle and who to hand it over to. So I will not complete the entire form in the interest of time, but when you are done completing the form, you can submit your request on the portal, and it will then be channeled to a focal point in your UN agency's headquarters, who will validate the request or reject it. And once it is validated, it will be processed to UN Fleet so that we can process your request further. As I said, you will also get access to a My Fleet area in which you can see any plans that you are saving in case you are not yet ready to submit your leasing request, or you can see finalized orders. Here, of course, now we have a long list because we are also managing many requests, but usually if you place 1 or 2 requests, you would see just 1 or 2. You can also start a new leasing plan from your fleet area. You can always go back to the home screen by clicking the UN Fleet button. So as you see, it is a very straightforward and self-explanatory process. We do have some guidance material available on the portal as well, including a manual and tutorial videos. But as Rob said, we really believe this tool process makes the process easy and accessible to anyone who is also able to place a booking or a purchase online for any other service. So we're happy to support you in case you get stuck, and you can send an email to the information email address that will be put up on the screen soon again. Thank you.
Excellent, Meryl. That looked very easy, very straightforward, and very well explained. Thank you very much. Great. So for more information, please visit unfleet.org. That will take you directly to the portal there. And if you can't get into that, please don't hesitate to drop us a message at that email address, info.unfleet@unfleet.org. Okay. Thanks very much. I think we have some time for some questions. There's only a couple of questions that appeared in the chat so far. We have plenty of time, so we are very happy to pick up any questions you might have. Lewis has just pasted the contact info into the chat. Thank you very much. So Jan has just asked a question on fantastic presentation. Thank you very much indeed. If there are to be any issues in the future with UN Fleet, do we know which Inspector General's office would be expected to assist? Asking for a friend. Is that when you go to the doctor and say, my friend's got a rather unfortunate disease? I'm not really sure what we're asking in that question. I mean, basically, either or. This is a joint venture. There's an MOU between the two agencies. So I think the easiest answer to that is either or, if there were to be such a case. Is this the same as GVLP? Well, Osbert, GVLP was the name of the WFP initiative that was started in 2007. That has transformed 2 or 3 years ago to become Fleet Center, Dubai, where all the needs of WFP field offices for light vehicles are met. Fleet Center manages that. And yes, indeed. So somebody said that, somebody used the expression that, you know, UN Fleet stands on the shoulders of giants. GVLP has been running since 2007, and the equivalent at UNHL GFM has been running since 2014. As I say, combined, more than 10,500 vehicles. We've learned a lot. We've all been involved in both of those models. And so it's not the same. Basically, GVLP or Fleet Center serve WFP country offices only. UN Fleet serves all UN agencies except WFP and UNHR at this point. So it's the same business model, it's the same logic, but it's put together in a different package. Do you charge overheads when there is not an let me just, Lorenzo, let me clarify. This is not an agreement you're making with UNHR and WFP. It's an agreement with UN Fleet. The overhead cost, it's quite a transparent costing model. As I said, we follow the costing logic behind a cost recovery model that's established under the UN Reform Initiative. You are charged, there is a flat rate. If you wish to lease a vehicle from UN Fleet, you will go to the portal, you can put in a vehicle leasing request, and then that leasing request, we will then come back to you and present you with what we call a pro forma invoice. That pro forma invoice will provide an indication of the availability of that vehicle, the lead time for that vehicle, the delivery costs for that vehicle, and the monthly fee that you would be expected to pay for that vehicle. There's a one fee. It's just a one monthly fee. In that monthly fee, there is the cost of capital. You can build in the shipping costs. All of the costs are contained in a single monthly fee. There's no overhead. There's no additional charge. There's no percentage charged. As Diego has just very helpfully, Luis has just very kindly put, there is a FAQ on the website with most of the questions that we get asked frequently, hence frequently asked questions, are included there. But again, please don't hesitate to, if you've got any questions and you don't want to ask them here or you want to ask them later, please don't hesitate to come back to us, any one of us, or use that info email address that Luis has put into the chat. Lorenzo, you're very welcome. I'm not seeing any more. Have I missed any questions? I think I dealt with them. I saw them coming along. Okay, we're getting some positive comments. Hang on, let me see. Ship to Chile. Now, very good question, Chile. Actually, that's really helpful. Now, as you saw, our vehicle distribution points are Thailand, Dubai, and Europe. What happens for needs in Chile? Well, quite straightforward. For much of the Americas, vehicle specifications and homologation regulations in South America are quite specific. And so what we would consider for Chile would be understand what your needs are, but we would almost certainly recommend that we procure the vehicle locally in the market, whether it be in Chile or in a neighboring country, and then we hand the vehicles over to you in your field office in Chile. So we would hold the lease, we would arrange for the procurement of the vehicle locally, and we would do the handover. The only thing there is that the vehicle does not pass through one of our vehicle preparation centers, so it's slightly more complex for the fitting of specific accessories. So that's how we would service Chile. How long does it take? That's very interesting. It's a very good question, Federico. It really depends. You know, if in the case of Chile, we've just mentioned there, we would need to procure the vehicle locally. We can normally do that pretty quickly, but it also depends on the vehicle availability. So I can't give you a specific time because it depends on a number of different factors, which is, let's say it's a standard vehicle going to another location. Yes, we hold the vehicle in stock, but the parameters that we don't hold control of, we can prepare that vehicle very quickly. We withdraw it from stock, we prepare it, we ship it. How long does shipping take? That really varies. As you may be aware, the global shipping market has been very severely disrupted. And so it depends on shipping. And then also, how long does it take to organize the clearance on vehicle arrival? So I know I'm not avoiding the question, Federico, but it's really difficult to give you a clear idea. We would do that on a case-by-case basis. If you enter a vehicle leasing request, when we receive that, when we respond to you with details of payment schedule, costs, and so on, we would also give you an indication of lead time. It is very much case-by-case. So we're just following on your question there, you know, how are POs and payments managed directly from the interested office or from the or centrally? That depends on the agency. Some agencies are choosing to manage it centrally. Some offices are choosing to do it on some agencies are choosing it to do on a country-by-country basis. I think there's a lot of sense because we want to streamline the administration. It would make more sense if it's dealt with centrally, but about 50-50. Some are centrally, some are managed on an individual country level basis. It rather depends on which agency. And oh, your FAO, yeah. FAO, sorry, I just noticed your FAO RLC. Yeah, so I think FAO at the moment, we're talking about it on a country by country basis. We're almost concluded the negotiation, but I can't tell you off the top of my head if it's organizational level or central level or country level, but we could let you know. So I saw Miambo here. What's the difference between UN Fleet and mobility? Well, mobility offered through the booking hub is really access to a service. That's a service. I think if you separate it between a service and we're providing a vehicle, we're providing something very tangible. We're providing to you a vehicle asset, which then you use that vehicle asset in any which way you so choose. Whereas mobility is more of a transport service. I hope that answers your question. So Sushil, are there electric vehicles available? Absolutely yes. However, it has to be said, EVs are very limited into the territories in which we can deliver those vehicles. As I mentioned, our requirement is we need to be able to obtain official after-sales support for that vehicle. Warranty, spare parts, maintenance, and so on. So the constraint is not where we're happy to ship it, where we can ship a vehicle, we can ship a vehicle anyway, but where we can support electric vehicles. We've got a number of electric vehicles currently in operation in a number of territories, but you'd have to come on a case-by-case basis to let us know in which area you are for us to confirm whether or not we can provide EVs into that country. Lorenza, I see you're asking a question on specific authorization process. Yeah, that is the service agreement, the global agreement that UN Fleet signs with your HQ. And there are the specific authorization process for individual field offices or country offices to make vehicle leasing requests. There's that's rather dependent on your organization. We have to agree what is the authorization, what is the process for passing of a validated request. But essentially, that agreement is made at an HQ level globally. And then there is no specific authorization process that we require once your agency is engaged. Remember, what's our objective? Our objective is to remove the hassle of vehicle acquisition and disposal. The process is very simple and very straightforward. So we do minimize the levels of authorization required. What we do is we do have a one step, which is basically normally at an HQ level, there's a kind of approval that this is a validated request. But that's an internal process between you and your headquarters. Very simple though. One step authorization basically. We still have a few minutes, and I love answering questions. Come on. Oh, okay, understood. No more. All right. Okay.
Thank you, Rob. And if more questions that come through, certainly we send to your direction. Let me see if any final question. I know we have 1 hour, but if we need less, I'm happy to make these sessions as short as needed, acknowledging that the more conversation will continue over the coming days and weeks, especially if you bring this topic the attention of your key decision makers in the organization. Super. So if no other question, thank you very much to everyone attending this second webinars. More communication and additional webinars in 2023. Thank you for the UN Fleet team, really well done. We will share the link with the recordings and the material with the entire presentation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Giovanni. Thanks everybody for participating. Thanks team for supporting.
Thank you. Thank you.